We're building a controller stand. Why? Well, let me give you a little bit of context. When I was in college, I was on a Call of Duty team, and during my time on that team, I ended up collecting a whole bunch of really cool looking controllers. So when I moved out of college, I thought, why not display them? So I discussed this with my former teammate Matt. Hey man, I'm thinking of building some stands to display my controllers with. I think we have a stand file somewhere. Let me talk to the engineering team. Matt now works for the company that made all the fancy controllers that I used in college. A few days later, I had an STL file for their stand. So I printed off a couple of these. So in exchange for Matt getting me the file, I printed off a couple of these stands to give to him as a gift at the Toronto 3 Major. And it just so happened that Scuf didn't happen to have stands for the broadcast, so they ended up putting these stands on the broadcast.
Yes, make it worse for me, Alan.
Doug should have just been in.
They can be seen here. And I guess they like them because they're still using them on the broadcast.
Question, why did Bryson bring 2 pairs of pants to the golf course today? In case you got a hole in one.
So fast forward to now, and I've got some changes I want to make to these things. Except, I only have an STL file. And I don't know if any of you guys know this, but an STL file is awful to edit and handle, just in any way, shape, or form, so I think that I would just rather remake it. Let's go do that.
While I was doing that, another college teammate, Kyle, asked if I could also make him a stand, but with the Steelers logo instead of Scuf's. Since I was already doing the work to rebuild the stand, I agreed, but it left me with some creative design decisions to make.
So I've got the base stand done. I just need to make a decision now. I have to figure out what I want to do with the design. I could do a resin inlay on the face, but the issue with that is that in doing so, I would need to mix up a very small amount of resin and then inlay it and then sand it down, etc. And it seems like it would not be worth it to create the amount of resin or epoxy or whatever I'm doing it out of. The next option that I have is I have a resin printer, so I could print the pieces in a specific color, paint over them, and then like glue them in, and then I could have like a 3D textured one, or I could just like do an indent on the face where it would go and then do the colors of the Steelers logo in, I don't know, felt or something of that nature. So in order to proceed with the design, I have to come up with what I'm going to do for that. The other benefit of redesigning it that I have is that the ribbing that goes underneath the stand to support it, I can now modify. I'm thinking because he wants Steelers, I've asked him who his favorite player is. I'm just going to do a curve here and then put the number of his favorite player in this corner. And then finally, at least as far as FDM printers go, the layering is not always going to be super smooth. It can be a little scratchy. I would offset it, I would cut it in like 1/10 of an inch or whatever, and then I would lay the non-stick pad on it and then take an X-Acto knife and cut it. And now you've just got a non-slip pad, so when you put it on the table, it stays put. I think that modification is a nice quality of life one that would, even though it would add more work for me, would just improve the stands as a whole. And since there is the consideration of selling them in the future, I might as well do it. I might as well set it up. So for now, we'll proceed with that. All right, so we got the STL generated. We're looking at the preview for the print. Does the base, starts it up. Looks like we got support material. I'm happy with it. We're just gonna swap out the filament and start the print.
While Past Me does all this work and waits for it to print, I just want to say if you're enjoying the content and would like to see more of it, please consider subscribing. It costs you nothing but would mean the world to me. Plus, I have tons of cool projects coming up that I'd love to share with you, such as a Cosmere-themed diorama, more custom stands for my controllers, and a vlog from my trip to Toronto for the Call of Duty Major. Oh, and since I forgot to record a transition, we're just going to skip to the resin inlay.
I printed off this nice little stand just to hold it flat and level while we work on it, so that the resin has time to dry. It's great, it's beautiful, it works perfectly. Kobe's done this before, I have not. We came up with this idea together. Basically, we're just going to mix the resin together, pour it into the thing, add pigment to give it color, stir it up, put it in here, let it dry. I present to you Kobe. You know Kobe. Kobe's been here before.
I have indeed.
Alright, we're doing a resin inlay on the controller stand. He's the one that knows how to do it.
So yeah, let's get started. So it's alright, play copyright music, right?
I mean, from here on out, I'm basically just going to speed it up. So, time lapse it. We can do what we want.
So the camera died, but luckily you missed nothing because we had to wait 48 hours for the resin to cure anyways.
Well, it's flattened.
Nice.
I'll basically do this for a little while.
Easy 320.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Dong. Easy 1000 grit. Alright guys, it has been sanded down. It's nice and beautiful, like the Steelers logo. Objective basically complete. Here's a bunch of the controller stands. We're giving them away to people that have asked me for them. These are all the default Scuf stands that Matt has sent me the file for. And this was the finishing touch for the one that Kyle asked for, which is the Steelers modified one. So the reason there was the indent on the bottom is because I just took some 3M rubber adhesive and I lined it up on the bottom, and I took an X-Acto knife and I just cut it out to shape. Yeah, so now it is much more grippy, it doesn't slide around as easy, and they're ready to be given to people.
I wanted to see if the rubber was actually flat enough with the bottom to create any noticeable difference in how hard it was to move, so I compared two stands by pushing the front face.
Alright, so we're in the car, we're on the way to Matt's to drop off his 7 controller stands, and then we're on the way to Kyle's. I was planning on going to Kyle's first, but he's not home currently, so I'll get to driving and I'll see you when I get there. Alright, so we have just dropped off Matt's 7 controller stands, and now we are off to go deliver Kyle his custom Steelers one. This is, maybe it's 43 for you guys that side. This is the one that the video's mainly been about, so I'm excited to give it to Kyle. I'm excited to see how he reacts. So yeah, I'm off on that road trip.
I'm not camera ready.
No, it's too late. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's sweet.
This is the slowest zoom I've ever done. All right, I'm glad you like it.
No, it's sweet.
And with that, all the controller stands are delivered, and it's back to the drive to my house. Woo, more driving, but short, sweet, simple, to the point, and yeah. So now that I've delivered all the controller stands to all the people, it's time to, you know, get back to work on the thing that was the original purpose, which was designing stands for all of these. Guess I'll do that next time.